What happens when an unlikely group of humans gets their hands on 5 super-powered cosmic stones? To put it short, Kid Cosmic is what happens. Released on Netflix earlier this year, Kid Cosmic tells the story of these characters, who work together to protect Earth from all kinds of evildoers. It's the 4th cartoon from Craig Mccracken, who created classics like the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. This show is distinct from his past work. It's the first series that follows a story arc, with characters evolving and new storylines emerging as the show progresses. The characters in this series might grow and change, but one central question remains. Which ones are the heroes, and which ones are anything but? I'm Anthony with Wicked Binge, and this is Kid Cosmic, Good to Evil. Like always, we'll be starting off with the most heroic characters and then plunge into the bad. These characters are on the good side. In the most good spot is Kid's grandpa, Papa G. Papa G earned this title because he has the biggest heart out of anyone in the whole cast. He's even considered the heart of the team by the townspeople. After Kid's parents die in a tragic car accident, he becomes his official guardian.
Papa G isn't anybody. He's Papa G.
He cares deeply for Kid and wants nothing more than to see him happy. His caring demeanor extends out to the rest of the cast. When the team has the evil Stuck Chuck trapped, Papa G argues that they should give one of the cosmic stones to Stuck Chuck. He thinks he is capable of redemption and can atone for all the pain he has caused. Papa G doesn't believe anyone is truly evil and sees the good in everyone. He often acts as the team's voice of reason and will counsel Kid when he's in a rough patch. Despite being part of a superhero team, he's also quite the pacifist. He'll still fight when the need arises, but it's never his first instinct. He possesses the yellow stone, which allows him to create clones of himself. He cares a lot for these duplicates and gets shaken when harm befalls them. Any other character would have written them off as expendable. Quite the opposite, he sees them as being just as human as any other person. Well, we've talked up his good qualities. Being a pacifist and caring can be seen as an occasional weakness. When Kid was in desperate need of a win, Papa G convinced the others to dress up as robots, who were then defeated by Kid. When the truth was eventually revealed, Kid was deeply hurt by it, and it even led to the team losing the rings for a time. Despite his flaws, we still feel there's enough to Papa G to give him the first spot in the good category. He always looks on the bright side and forever stands by his wisdom that heroes help, not hurt. In the second place, we have the leader of the team, Joe. A teenager who works at her mom's cafe, Joe is gifted the purple cosmic stone, giving her the ability to create portals. Joe, occasionally known by her alter ego Portal Girl, can be considered the straight man of the team. She's a lot more level-headed than characters like Papa G and Kid. That's not to say Joe is perfect, but she's definitely got more of a head on her shoulders than her team members. It's no wonder that she ends up the leader. She also gets along well with other members of the show's cast. She babysits Rosa and is good friends with Kid. She'll help him out in a jam, and she's the first person Kid introduces the stones to, showing that he trusts her greatly with them.
Joe, help! Big danger! Come on!
However, Joe isn't the greatest hero there is. Remember when we said she isn't perfect? Yeah, it's time to get into that. Joe can be pretty cowardly at times. She panics the most out of anyone in the team, which isn't exactly a quality you want in a leader. When Joe first gains the powers of the Cosmic Stone, she's also not really interested in the superhero lifestyle. Instead, she's interested in a far more selfish pursuit. She wants to use its powers to travel the world and get away from her mundane life. Fighting off intergalactic villains isn't her career choice, but it ultimately fits her like a glove. That's the main reason we rank her so high on this list. She never wanted to become a hero, nor did she desire to become the leader of a superhero team. Still, she becomes both of those things and excels at them. She is exceptionally humble as a hero. That, coupled with her leadership abilities, makes her a prime candidate for second place. The third place sees the titular character, Kid Cosmic. At first, Kid seems to be your average boy who dreams of becoming a superhero. His story takes a twist when he finds 5 cosmic stones, each capable of great power. He eventually puts together a superhero team that fights off all kinds of evil alien invaders. Kid has many heroic qualities to him, but he also has a few not-so-heroic attributes. Joe summed him up best as a good guy who's really bad at it. He aspires to be just like the superheroes he reads about in comic books. However, he has a somewhat limited view of being a hero. He tends to think it's only about fighting and and catchphrases, which often leads to Papa G having to send some wisdom his way. He can get pretty nasty as well. When Rosa terrorized the town as a giant, he angrily said Rosa was not his friend, which sent her crying. He also has a lot of self-doubt within him and often feels he's not the hero as others see him. With all that out of the way, let's get into his good qualities. Kid is the spirit of the team, something that is even said of him within the show. Without him, there would simply be no team. He also goes through the most development of any character in the first season. He learns there really is more to being a hero than throwing fists. Kid becomes more mature as the series progresses and always tries to correct his wrongs. His character progression is best shown when he calls Jo the leader of the team. He clearly feels she's best fit for the position, something he wasn't capable of doing at the beginning of the series. When a group of 5 aliens battles the Earth Force Enforcement Force, Kid is the one who ends the conflict, and he doesn't even have to raise a fist to do so. He sees the aliens aren't actually evil and ends up befriending both them and the Enforcement Force. Kid Cosmic isn't a perfect superhero. He can be very egotistical and immature at times. Nevertheless, he possesses many of the qualities a hero needs, and it is for that reason he gets 3rd place. Next up, we have Tuna Sandwich. On the surface, Tuna is nothing more than an everyday cat. He spends his time hanging out at Moe's Oasis, where Kid feeds him tuna sandwiches. That all changes after Kid gives him the redstone, which grants him the ability to see in the future. After that, he becomes one of the most invaluable assets to the team. With the ability to see in the future, Tuna Sandwich might just be the smartest member of the group.
Tuna Sandwich senses danger!
He can get the group out of problems that they won't even see coming. He's friends with the entire team, but he is close mainly with Kid. He's very loyal to him, primarily because Kid fed him when he was astray. He'll do whatever needs to be done to keep him safe. For example, after the biker in black took over the town in the Stones, Tuna went out of his way to get the team back together, with a little bit of help from Stuck Chuck, that is. In addition to his intelligence and loyalty to the team, he's also a formidable fighter. We're sure you didn't see that one coming. While he has many qualities you'd want in a team member, he also lacks some important ones. For one, he doesn't really talk. While he does get control of a voice modulator, that only happens near the end of the season. It kind of makes you wonder how differently things would have gone if he had it the entire time. He's also somewhat limited by his cat body. There's only so much he can do as a cat, but he certainly makes the most of it. With a great mind and strong sense of loyalty, we just had to put Tuna on the good list. Our next entry rounds out the Kid Cosmic team with Rosa. Rosa is a 4-year-old girl who is given the blue stone by Kid, or to be more exact, takes the stone from him.
You give Rosa a ring?
The stone gives her the power to turn into the giant La Niña Gigantica, and she soon becomes another member of Kid's team. Rosa is easily the strongest member of the entire team, thanks mainly to her abilities. She's virtually unstoppable when she turns into a giant, and she makes short work of any villains she fights. When the team starts out defending Earth against alien invaders, Rosa is basically the team's MVP. She saves them on several of these adventures, and many times she's the main reason why they're able to win. This leads her to have more medals than any other member of the team. There's more to being in the good category than accomplishments, however. We must also look at her personality, and luckily for her, Rosa's a pretty upbeat character. After all, she's only 4. She's almost always in a good mood, even when the team is in the most dangerous of predicaments. Despite having a good personality and some outstanding accomplishments tied to her name, she does have one glaring flaw that holds her back from a higher position. She is very destructive, especially when she was first given the blue stone. She wreaked havoc on the entire town and even nearly squashed Papa G at one point. Of course, she is merely a child, but we still think it's worth bringing up. While she's a bit more dangerous than other team members, Rosa makes up for that in sheer strength, and that gets her this spot on the list. In the next slot, we have Jo's mom, Flo. The owner of Moe's Oasis, Flo is your typical strict parent you've seen in countless cartoons. She always makes sure Jo gets work done at the Oasis and will chastise her when she's browsing on her phone.
And where have you been?
She's pretty easy to anger as well. Kid and his adventures are a typical source for Flo's frustration, making no attempt to hide it. When Jo becomes a member of Kid's team, her biggest fear is that Flo will discover her secret, as she knows she will not be happy to see her daughter fighting off aliens. When Flo finally learns what Joe has been doing, her reaction is about what you would expect. Flo tells Joe and the rest of the team to give up their superhero activities. There are certainly many aspects to Flo that could easily put her in the gray area, but we feel that there's enough to her character to keep her in the good. For starters, she's easy to get along with. She loves getting new patrons to the Oasis and gets along with each of them. Flo even welcomes aliens to the cafe with open arms. While she isn't happy at first to see Joe as a superhero, she ends up warming up to the idea after seeing her in action. By the time the government tries to take the rings away from the gang, she is absolutely against the idea, believing Kid and the team are perfectly fit to use the stones. How's that for character development? In conclusion, while Flo might be a bit too uptight of a parent, she's always willing to grow and evolve, earning her this spot on the list. Finishing up the good category, we have Queen Jean. This superpowered alien comes to Earth alongside 4 other aliens. Each one is after a specific stone. They're the last survivors of their respective home planets, which were destroyed by the evil Herodias. Jean may seem like a villain at first, as she tries to fight the Earth Force to get the stone, but after Kid figures out what's going on, it becomes clear that she's just as good as any of the other heroes in the main cast.
The Earth heroes don't know the aliens are good guys.
She merely wants to be the last remnant of her lost planet, and she's willing to do anything to get it. Once her intentions become clear, she's friendly with the rest of the cast and is even willing to visit Mo's Oasis. Even the Earth Force, who tried to destroy her shortly before this, ended up becoming friends with her. After a 6-month leave, she comes back to the cafe, proclaiming that she is one of the only aliens who survived a battle with Herodias. She asks for the help of Kid Cosmic and his team, which they oblige to. While she doesn't have a huge role in the series so far, she's the only one of these survivors to have a distinct character. With her role in the final episodes of the first season, as well as the likelihood we'll see her return, we felt she was the perfect fit for this last spot on the good list. That wraps things up for the good guys. Now we move on to those who are not quite good, but they aren't quite evil either. This is the gray area. First up, we have the Earth Force Enforcement Force. What a name! These 5 super soldiers are given each of the stones after the government takes them from Kid. They each have their own colored suit, which coordinates with the stone they possess. The members of the Earth Force are definitely not evil, but we wouldn't call them good either. They do the bidding of the Biker in Black, a character who has his own evil motives for fighting alien threats. They're largely clueless about this, just like they're clueless to the true intentions of the aliens they battle in the season's final episodes. They also ridicule footage of the local heroes trying to fight off the aliens, seeing them as little more than guinea pigs for testing the stones.
We let the guinea pigs handle it.
Though they are clueless about their leader's actual plans, they still possess a great deal of humanity. When Kid and the gang try to interfere in their battle against the aliens, they never attack them. Instead, they try to get them out of the battlefield as peacefully as possible. When they learn that the aliens are the sole survivors of their homeworlds, they make no effort to try and defeat them. They actually befriend the aliens, as well as Kid and the team. As we said, they have many good qualities, but there are a few things that hold them back from being in that category, which makes them perfect for the first spot in the gray area. If the enforcement force is here, then their leader must not be far behind. That leads us to none other than the Biker in Black. When the show begins, this biker seems to be an average patron of Mo's Oasis. However, after people learn of the stones, he reveals that he's actually an undercover government agent. He takes the stones for his own purposes and becomes the main antagonist of the season from that point onwards. The Biker in Black is in the gray because he does do some noble things, but his reasons for doing so are anything but that. Much like Kid, he wants to be a hero who saves the Earth from intergalactic threats. However, he wants to be a hero for nothing more than fame and glory. He's almost like a foil to Kid, as if this is the character he could turn into if he doesn't evolve and mature as a hero. His desire to keep Earth safe is also rooted in a feeling of xenophobia. He hates all kinds of aliens and sees the stones as the perfect way to prove the Earth is a superior planet. When his plan is foiled at the end of the season, he even tries to manipulate Kid into joining him. We could easily put the biker in the evil tier, but he's very inactive in the story. He's an antagonist who sits back and lets his lackeys take care of problems rather than doing them on his own. Also, as we said earlier, he does do some heroic acts, it's just his motives that are evil. Overall, this biker is one mixed bag of good and evil, giving him an easy spot in the gray area. We're finished with the gray area. Now we move towards the baddest of the bad. These characters are evil. Earning the bronze medal of evil is none other than the team's first villain, Stuck Chuck. Chuck is an alien invader who goes after Kid to get the stones, which he hopes will please his leader. Things go wrong when a portal from Joe separates his legs from his upper body. He spends most of the season in Kid's trailer, earning him the name Stuck Chuck. Chuck is far from the baddest villain in the series, but he could still be pretty nasty. When he first appears, he has no problem killing Kid, Joe, or any other major characters. As far as he's concerned, they're little more than roadblocks in his mission to satisfy his leader. Later, he tricks Kid and the team into taking him to his ship to find the instruction manual for the stones. Of course, there is no manual for the stones in the end. He merely wanted to contact his leader to inform him of the location of the stones. His meanest moment is undoubtedly the time when he tells Kid that his victory against the robot army was simply Papa G and the others dressing up as robots. He ridicules everything about him, from his failure to be a hero all the way to the death of his parents in a car accident.
What are you going to do about it?
He utterly rips Kid apart, hoping it will force him to contact his leader. After his leader discards him in a quick battle, however, Chuck has a change of heart. He starts to take a more heroic role in the series as he helps Tuna Sandwich get the team back together. He also begins to see that Kid is a hero and even proclaims him as his new leader. Though he does see the error of his ways and turns a new leaf, we feel it comes a bit late in the season, and we never really get to see Chuck as a hero. His redemption keeps him on the lower side of the evil list, but it's not enough to get him to the good list. Maybe next season, Chuck. Getting the silver medal of evil is Stuck Chuck's leader, appropriately named the Great Leader. This villain is the ruler of the Klaxian Empire and is obsessed with trying to obtain the stones. After he learns of the stones' whereabouts, he leaves for Earth to try and take them. The Great Leader is certainly an evil character. Unlike Stuck Chuck, he makes no attempts to mend his ways. He's an incredibly intimidating character whose armor is covered in the skulls of aliens, and he controls a mighty army of soldiers. However, there is just one problem, and it's what costs him a higher spot on the list.
Hello, great leaders.
He's a gigantic coward. As soon as he ends up in trouble on Earth, he freaks out and leaves the planet, entirely ditching his plans of obtaining the stones. When this happens, it leaves you wondering how this guy could ever even be the leader of an empire. His utter cowardice would be enough for some to put him lower on this list, but we still must remember that he is the leader of an evil empire. He wields a dangerous army, and he is entirely focused on gaining power and destroying those who stand in his way. He's just not the greatest at doing things on his own. Besides, we could very well see him come back to the series at some point, where he'll hopefully be a greater threat to the heroes. Hopefully, that is. Capping things off, the gold medal of evil belongs to Erodius. Erodius is an interesting character in that we never actually see him on screen during the first season. We don't even hear of his name until the season is almost over.
Erodius the Planet Killer!
Still, just going off of what we were told about this character, he is easily the most evil character in the Kid Cosmic universe. Erodius is an alien who destroys planets. All of the stones featured in the show are the remains of planets that he destroyed. Right from the get-go, we see that his character is far more evil than any of the other antagonists in the series thus far. He doesn't hide behind lackeys, he's far from a coward, and it seems unlikely that he'll go through any sort of redemption. When the final episode of the season jumps 6 months into the future, it's revealed that he killed all of the aliens whose planets he had destroyed, except for Queen Zahn. This makes him the only character in the series so far to have killed any named characters. He might not have actually shown up in the show at this point, but it's clear from the few mentions of his name that he is the most dangerous foe in the entire series. He's a character who's wiped out entire planets and alien species, making him the perfect candidate for the golden medal. Not so bad for a character who doesn't even show up, right? Before we wrap things up, let's hand out some medals to the characters who fit them best. Earning the Darwin medal is none other than the Great Leader. Let's not forget that he gave up his chance to seize the stones at the first sign of danger. If that's not dumb, we don't know what is. We're giving the Pride medal to Kid Cosmic, as he definitely has issues with seeing anyone but himself as the team leader. The Wrath medal goes to Erodius. Come on, how could we not give him this award after destroying entire planets and species?
Ripped apart by Herodias.
We definitely have to give the envy medal to the biker in black, who is fueled by jealousy over how much more advanced other planets appear to be. But let us know in the comment section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge our Good to Evil playlist, where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite cartoons, shows, and movies. But most importantly, stay wicked.